Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something real quick. Why is it that the same people who hurt you, drain you, and disrespect you always seem to come out on top? Why is it that the person who made you question your worth is walking around like they own the world while you're picking up the pieces? Here's the hard truth: you might be letting them win. Yeah, I said it. But hold up, I'm not blaming you. I'm about to show you exactly how it happens, how to stop it, and how to take back your power. Because once you see the game they play, you'll stop being a pawn. And when you stop playing by their rules, they lose control. This isn't just about revenge. It's about freedom, healing, and finally standing tall in your own story. So if you've ever been used, manipulated, talked down to, or made to feel small by someone who thinks the world revolves around them, keep listening. By the end of this talk, you're going to know how to shut that mess down for good. You let them win when you keep trying to prove your worth to them. That's the trap. That's how they keep you spinning in circles, doubting yourself, running harder and harder for approval you were never going to get in the first place. Because narcissists don't deal in honesty or fairness. They deal in control. And the moment they know you're trying to earn their acceptance, they've already won the game. See, here's what they do. They give you just enough attention to pull you in. Just enough compliments, just enough smiles, just enough sweetness to make you feel seen. And once you're hooked, they flip the script. Now suddenly you're not doing enough. You're too emotional. You're hard to love. And what do? You try harder. You try to prove them wrong. You bend over backwards, hoping they'll notice, hoping they'll say, "Hey, I was wrong about you." But they won't, because they don't want resolution. They want the upper hand. When someone needs you to keep proving your worth, they're not loving you, they're managing you. They're playing a game where they hold the scoreboard and change the rules whenever they want. And you're stuck in a loop asking yourself, why am I not enough? But here's the truth that hits deep. You've always been enough. You just believed someone who profits off making you think otherwise. You can't win the approval of someone who is committed to misunderstanding you. Narcissists are not looking to lift you up. They are looking to stay above you. And the more you chase their validation, the more you give them the spotlight they crave. You don't need to explain yourself to someone who never intended to listen. You don't need to keep jumping through emotional hoops trying to be good enough. That is not love. That is control wrapped in manipulation. Let me break it to you real. Every time you try to prove something to a narcissist, you're handing them a piece of your power. Every time you argue back to defend your character, every time you try to show them your heart, you're playing into their script, because they know how to twist your kindness into weakness. They know how to use your empathy as a leash. And they will keep pulling until you finally say, no more. You want to make them regret it, want to stop letting them win, stop trying to impress them. Stop trying to be chosen. Stop showing up to prove your goodness to someone who's already decided to devalue it. Narcissists don't respect your effort. They exploit it. They don't see your compassion as love. They see it as leverage. And as long as you're proving, explaining, justifying, you're still giving them what they want: attention, energy, control. But the moment you stop, the moment you get quiet, not silent in fear, but silent in strength, they feel it. You shift the power. You take the game off the table. You say, I don't need to prove anything to anyone who can't see my worth. That's the loudest statement you'll ever make. Not a scream, not a rant, just a calm, solid boundary that says, you don't get to decide who I am. That's when the tables turn. That's when they feel the absence of your energy, your effort, your light. And let me tell you, there is no greater revenge than healing. There is no greater win than walking away with your dignity intact and your soul untangled. Because the one thing narcissists can't stand is losing the control they thought they had over you. So next time you feel yourself stepping into that trap, trying to prove your heart, your loyalty, your goodness, pause. Breathe. Remind yourself that your worth is not up for negotiation. You don't have to win them over. You just have to win yourself back. And when you do, you'll realize the only person who ever needed convincing was you. You let them win when you let their words define your value. That's where so many people fall into the trap. You hear them say you're too sensitive, too dramatic, hard to deal with, or maybe they call you lazy, ungrateful, or selfish. And even if you know deep down it's not true, a part of you starts to question yourself. You replay their words over and over again, wondering if maybe they're right. That's exactly what they want. Because once they plant that seed of doubt, they don't even have to water it. You'll do it for them. Narcissists are experts at using words like weapons. But instead of cutting you in one clean swipe, they go for slow, repeated wounds. They wear you down with criticism, sarcasm, and backhanded compliments. They'll praise you one day and tear you down the next, keeping you emotionally off balance. And when you react, when you finally push back or get upset, they point at you like you're the problem. They make you feel guilty for having feelings. They flip it all around like you're the one causing the drama. That's manipulation. That's emotional control. And when you take their words and let them sink into your identity, that's when they win. You were never meant to be defined by someone else's broken perception. You were not born to be someone's emotional punching bag or their project to fix. But when you let their words shape the way you see yourself, you start to shrink. You silence your voice. You play small just to avoid the next insult. You second guess every decision, wondering, is this too much? Am I being crazy? That's not peace. That's survival. And it's exhausting. The truth is, what they say about you says more about them than it ever will about you. Their words come from a place of control, not clarity. See, when someone calls you too much, it usually means they can't handle someone who sets boundaries. When they say you're selfish, it might be because you stop putting their needs above your own. And when they call you crazy, it's often because they can't manipulate you like they used to. Narcissists rewrite reality to make themselves the victim and you the villain. That way, they never have to take responsibility, and you're always on the defensive. But listen, just because they said it doesn't make it true. You have to stop giving so much weight to people who never cared about lifting you up in the first place. You reclaim your power the moment you stop accepting their labels. The moment you hear the insult but decide not to wear it. The moment you say to yourself, that's not mine to carry. Because when you stop internalizing their poison, you stop letting it affect your spirit. That's when the healing begins. And don't get it twisted. This doesn't mean you pretend their words didn't hurt. Of course they did. You're human. You care. That's what makes you beautiful. But it means you acknowledge the hurt, then return their judgment right back to them. You don't let it take root. You remind yourself, I am not what they say. I am who I choose to be. You have to build a shield around your identity. You have to protect your mind like it's your home. Because once you let someone with a toxic agenda set up camp in your head, they start rearranging the furniture. Suddenly your confidence is missing. Your peace is cluttered with chaos, and your self-worth is buried under piles of their opinions. But you don't have to live like that. You can take it all back. Start by replacing their voice with your own. Instead of, I'm not good enough, say, I'm growing and I deserve kindness. Instead of, I'm too emotional, say, my feelings are valid and they help me see the truth. Make your inner voice louder than theirs. Make it kinder, stronger, more loving. Because at the end of the day, their words only win if you believe them. And you have the final say in what defines you. So don't let a narcissist's insult become your inner dialogue. Don't let their need to feel powerful become the reason you feel powerless. You are not their opinion. You are not their insult. You are not their label. You are you. And that's more than enough. You let them win when you keep going back, hoping they'll change. This is one of the toughest traps to break free from, because hope is a powerful thing. It whispers in your ear that the person who hurt you might actually see the light one day, might suddenly care, might finally treat you right. And so you find yourself drawn back time and time again, even though every return only brings more pain. You tell yourself, this time it will be different. But deep down, a part of you knows the cycle all too well. The love bombing, the promises, the sweet moments, they pull you in like a tide you can't resist. But here's the harsh truth: narcissists don't change. Not the way you hope, not the way you need. Their patterns are not mistakes. They're part of who they are. They thrive on control and admiration. And if you keep coming back, you're feeding their need for power. You're giving them a revolving door to your heart and your emotions. Every time you return, you reinforce the behavior that hurts you. You make it okay for them to treat you poorly because you show them they don't have to change to keep you around. The hope you hold on to isn't foolish. It's natural. It's human to want to believe in the good, to see the potential for growth and healing. But hope without action becomes a trap. It blinds you from seeing the reality right in front of you. The same patterns, the same disrespect, the same emotional drain. You wait for the day they get it, but that day rarely comes because narcissists rarely see themselves as the problem. They don't feel the need to change because their world revolves around them and their needs alone. Every time you return, you give them a win. You let them off the hook. You tell them without words, it's okay to treat me this way because I'll keep coming back. That message is loud and clear to them. It feeds their ego and strengthens their hold over you. The longer you stay stuck in that cycle, the harder it becomes to break free. Breaking the cycle means doing the hardest thing, walking away and staying away, even when hope whispers in your ear. It means accepting that love is not supposed to hurt this much. That respect is not something you have to beg for. That you deserve someone who chooses you every day without conditions or games. It means choosing yourself over the fantasy of what could be. It's okay to grieve what you thought the relationship could be. It's okay to mourn the future you imagined. But holding on to a hope that keeps hurting you isn't love, it's self-sabotage. True love, true respect comes with consistency and care, not manipulation and control. You have to build your strength through this process. Strength to say no, strength to walk away, and strength to keep walking even when it's painful. Because every step away from the cycle is a step toward freedom. Every moment you resist the urge to return is a victory for your self-worth. And here's the thing: walking away doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start caring about yourself in a way that demands better. It means you stop being a player in their game and become the coach of your own life. You set boundaries that say, I will not accept this treatment anymore. You stop answering the calls, the texts, the pleas. You let the silence speak louder than any argument. Eventually, they'll notice the difference. But this time, it won't be because you chased them. It'll be because you stopped chasing. And that changes the power dynamic completely. So if you want to stop letting narcissists win, start by breaking the cycle of hope that keeps you tied to their drama. Real change comes from within you, from choosing your peace and your dignity over their empty promises. You don't owe them a second chance just because you want to believe in good. You owe yourself a chance to heal, to grow, and to live free. Remember, the best revenge isn't to keep going back. It's to walk away and never look back. You let them win when you accept their lies as truth. Narcissists are master manipulators, and one of their favorite tools is deception. They twist facts, rewrite stories, and spin reality so that you start to question what really happened. They'll tell you things that don't make sense, deny events you clearly remember, and accuse you of things you never did. This is called gaslighting, and it's designed to confuse you, break down your confidence, and make you doubt your own mind. When you begin to believe their lies, you lose the strongest weapon you have, your own truth. Gaslighting is dangerous because it slowly chips away at your sense of reality. It's not a sudden blow, it's a drip, drip, drip of "are you sure that happened?" or "you must be imagining things," or "you're overreacting." At first, you might shrug it off, but over time, those little doubts grow until you're not sure what's real anymore. You start apologizing for things you didn't do, defending yourself against accusations that don't make sense, and feeling like you're losing your grip on reality. The narcissist watches this happen and feels victorious because the confusion means control. When you accept their version of the story, you hand them the power to shape your world. You let them rewrite your history, your feelings, and your experiences. Instead of standing firm in what you know to be true, you start questioning yourself. You lose confidence in your own judgment. And that's exactly what they want. They want you unsure, shaky, and dependent on their version of the truth. The problem is, you cannot fight an enemy who controls the narrative. If you believe the lies, you're already beaten. You won't speak up because you doubt your own voice. You won't set boundaries because you're afraid you're wrong. You'll keep apologizing, trying to fix things that don't need fixing, hoping to make peace with someone who doesn't want peace. They want power. But here's the hard truth. You have to reclaim your reality. You have to trust your own memories, feelings, and instincts more than their twisted stories. When you start doubting yourself, remind yourself who you are. Remember the facts as you know them, not as they want you to see them. Write things down if you have to. Talk to people who know the truth. Keep evidence if necessary. The more you anchor yourself in reality, the harder it is for them to pull you into their web of lies. It's also important to recognize that their lies are about control, not truth. Narcissists lie because the truth doesn't serve them. They want to confuse you and make you dependent on their version of events. Their goal isn't to build a relationship or fix problems. It's to keep you off balance and under their thumb. You stop letting them win when you refuse to be gaslighted, when you call out the lies, even if it feels scary or uncomfortable, when you say, "No, that's not what happened," and mean it. You stop apologizing for your feelings or your memories. You stand firm and say, "This is my truth." That's when the power shifts back to you. This is not easy because narcissists are skilled liars and manipulators. They will try harder to convince you, to confuse you, to make you question yourself again. But every time you hold your ground, you break their hold over you. Every time you choose your reality over their lies, you reclaim a piece of your power. You have to protect your mind like you protect your body. Guard your thoughts, your feelings, your memories. When someone tries to rewrite your story, don't let them. Your truth is yours. No one else gets to edit it. And the moment you accept that, the moment you stop believing their lies, you stop letting them win. You deserve to live free from confusion, free from doubt, and free from the twisted versions of reality they want to feed you. When you refuse their lies, you show them that their power is an illusion. And that is where true freedom begins. You let narcissists win when you give them the power to control your emotions. This is one of the biggest ways they manipulate and keep control over people. Narcissists are experts at pushing your buttons. They know exactly which words to say, which actions to take, and which moments to choose to trigger you. They want you to react emotionally because when you do, they feed off your energy. They get satisfaction from seeing you upset, angry, or frustrated because it means they're still in charge of the situation. When you react the way they want, you hand over your power, your anger, your tears, your frustration. They become their trophies. They use your emotions as a weapon to distract you from what's really going on. Instead of dealing with their bad behavior, they focus on how you respond, making you feel like you're the problem. It's a classic tactic. They bait you. You snap. And suddenly the spotlight is on you. You start apologizing, feeling guilty, or justifying your reactions while they sit back and smile, knowing they got exactly what they wanted. This emotional control works because emotions are powerful. They influence how you think, what decisions you make, and how you see yourself. When narcissists stir up your feelings, they cloud your judgment. You stop thinking clearly and start reacting from a place of hurt or fear. This makes it easier for them to manipulate you again and again. It's a cycle that's hard to break because emotions feel so real and overwhelming in the moment. But here's the truth. You do not have to live in this cycle. You do not have to let your feelings be the leash they hold. You have to learn how to manage your emotional reactions, especially around narcissists. That doesn't mean you suppress your feelings or pretend everything is okay. It means you develop emotional boundaries so their words and actions don't dictate your mood or your self-worth. One way to do this is to pause before reacting. When you feel that familiar burn of anger or frustration, take a breath. Step back, even if it's just in your mind. Give yourself a moment to think, is this worth my energy? Is this about me? Or is it about them trying to control me? When you respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively, you take the power away from them. Another key is to recognize their tactics. Understand that their goal is to provoke you. Once you see the game, you can choose not to play. You don't have to match their anger with anger. You don't have to fight fire with fire. Instead, you can respond with calm, confidence, and detachment. That drives them crazy because it takes away the reaction they crave. Emotional control also means setting clear boundaries. You have to decide what behavior you will accept and what you won't. If they say something rude or disrespectful, you don't have to stay in the conversation. You can walk away or say, I'm not going to engage with you when you speak to me like that. When you protect your emotional space, you send a message that you're not a target for manipulation. It's important to build your own emotional resilience too. Practice self-care, surround yourself with supportive people, and engage in activities that bring you peace. The stronger and more balanced you feel inside, the less likely you are to be shaken by their tactics. When you're grounded, their attempts to control your feelings bounce off instead of sinking in. Remember, emotional control is not about being cold or indifferent. It's about being strong and wise. It's about choosing how you react instead of letting someone else decide for you. When you master your emotions, you reclaim your power and stop letting narcissists win. At the end of the day, your emotions are yours to own, not theirs to control. Don't give them the key to your heart or mind. Hold it tightly yourself and keep it safe. When you do that, you break free from their grip and start living life on your own terms. You let narcissists win when you stay silent and don't stand up for yourself. This may sound surprising because sometimes staying quiet feels like the easier option. Maybe you want to avoid conflict or you're afraid of making things worse. But when you don't speak up, you're giving the narcissist a free pass to keep treating you badly. Silence can be mistaken for acceptance, and narcissists take full advantage of that. They push boundaries, disrespect your feelings, and keep using you as their emotional punching bag because you haven't made it clear that their behavior is unacceptable. Not standing up for yourself sends a message that your needs and feelings don't matter. It's like handing over the microphone in your own life and letting someone else control the conversation. Narcissists thrive in this kind of environment where no one challenges them. They believe they can say or do anything without consequences. And that's a dangerous place to be because it chips away at your self-respect and confidence over time. You start to doubt your worth and wonder if maybe they're right, that you don't deserve better treatment. But that's a lie. You do deserve respect and kindness, and speaking up is how you claim it. The problem is, standing up to a narcissist can feel intimidating. They're often skilled at turning the tables, making you feel guilty or crazy for asserting yourself. They may gaslight you, blame you, or even lash out. But here's the thing: staying silent out of fear only gives them more power. It lets them control the narrative and keep you trapped in their game. Speaking up, even when it's hard, is how you break the cycle. When you decide to stand up for yourself, you're not just defending your feelings, you're setting a boundary. You're saying, this is what I will and will not accept. Boundaries are essential in protecting your emotional and mental well-being. They create a clear line between what is okay and what isn't. And narcissists, no matter how cunning, have to respect those lines if they want to keep any kind of relationship with you. If they don't, it's a sign that it's time to reconsider their place in your life. Learning to stand up for yourself starts with believing that your voice matters. It's easy to get lost in the narcissist's noise and doubt yourself, but your feelings are valid. Your experiences are real. You have every right to speak out when someone crosses the line. It might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to staying quiet. But like any skill, it gets easier the more you practice. One way to start is by using simple, clear statements that focus on your feelings and needs, not on blaming the other person. For example, saying, "I feel disrespected when you speak to me that way," is powerful because it centers on your experience without attacking them. It's harder for someone to argue with how you feel. Another useful tool is learning to say no firmly but politely. You don't owe anyone an explanation beyond that. Standing up for yourself also means choosing your battles wisely. Not every rude comment or slight needs a response. But when something truly hurts or crosses your boundaries, don't let it slide. Address it calmly and clearly. Narcissists often test limits to see what they can get away with. When you push back, you show them that you're not an easy target. It's also important to remember that standing up for yourself doesn't mean you have to do it alone. Seek support from friends, family, or professionals who can help you build confidence and provide perspective. Sometimes just having someone validate your feelings can make a huge difference. The more you stand up for yourself, the less power narcissists have over you. You take back control of your life and your emotions. You stop being a victim and become a victor. You show that you respect yourself enough to demand respect from others. In the end, silence may seem safe, but it's actually the biggest gift you can give to a narcissist. Your voice is your power. Use it. Speak up. Draw the line. Protect your peace. When you do, you stop letting narcissists win and start winning your own life.